Hello and welcome to the Aura Podcast with your girl, Kubi Springer. As you can see, today we're doing something a little bit different. You and I are going to hang out on the couch and we're going to be looking at some of our guests from season 1, season 2, and giving you a little sneak peek into what's coming up in season 3. Why are we doing this? Well, myself and the Aura team, including my bestie Dean, feel it's really important that you and I get to learn from our guests. After all, we are 200 meters above sea level and we're literally on the 50th floor. So if there's anywhere where you can level up your brand and reach new heights, this is definitely the place. So get your iPad, get your iPhone, and all manner of eyes, because we are going to be learning together. After all, this is the Aura Podcast. So let's start. People often ask me, Kubi, what is a personal brand? Most of us know personal brands as being celebrities. We might think of a Beyonce or a Kate Moss. We might think of a Donald Trump or a Obama. We normally put personal brands, politicians, celebrities, athletes. But actually the truth is, you and I also have a personal brand. They say that 82% of all recruiters from this day onwards will be looking at your LinkedIn and your Google profile before they look at your resume. Which means that whether you like it or not, a narrative is being created about you. And it's your choice to either be in front of the narrative or to let the narrative speak on your behalf. Every day, we're creating a digital footprint. And so the question is, are you managing the messaging on that digital footprint, or is it managing you? So a personal brand is no longer an option, it's imperative. It's no longer a must-have, it's a get in front of it. And so I, as somebody who teaches this every single day, love the fact that we can look at what our guests have done to build their personal brand. If you were to ask the question, define a personal brand, well, here is the first note that I want you to take. A personal brand, by definition, is the personification of you. In other words, it's the best version. It is the side of you that you want the world to see, but it needs to be authentic. It needs to be the side of you that is the truth of who you are, but the truth of who you are that adds value to the world at large. A personal brand is something that people say about you when you are not in the room. When you have left that boardroom, what words they use to describe you. And a personal brand is how you make people feel after they have left working with you. Not just how do they feel about you, that's the easy part. Oh, I want them to feel inspired by me. That bit's easy. But how do they feel about themselves having worked with you? Most people care about how they feel about them. And so my question is, as you're building your personal brand, what impact are you having on the people around you? Whether that's your staff, your suppliers, your investors, your directors, your CEO, your customers, your clients, the influencers and the wider stakeholder group. When you know your personal brand, it's when you leave an impact, a positive impact that is designed, that is created, that is intentional with those who are in your stakeholder group. Now, let me tell you what a personal brand is not. It is not about a cute strapline. It is not about one post on LinkedIn. It is not even about how you create your beautiful Instagram post or what music you use on TikTok. All of those things in the world of marketing are a byproduct of you being intentional with the following things. So, are you ready? Branding is made up of key components. The first component is your mission. What do you stand for? Most people don't take enough time to really sit back and say, what is it that I stand for? At the end of your illustrious career, what are they going to say about you? So let me give you an example with me. I was born in a family with all boys. I'm the only girl, which is why I'm a little spoiled, just a little bit. But because I'm the only girl, I didn't have any sisters. And so I craved a sisterhood when I was younger. I also loved classical ballet. Girl, when I tell you I was tiny and could do the splits against the wall. I loved ballet. I loved putting on the pink tutu and I loved doing double pirouettes. I loved all of it. But when I was 11 years old, my ballet career was stripped away from me. I don't want to go into all the details. We can leave that for another pod. But let me just tell you this. I was told categorically that because of the color of my skin, I wasn't allowed to dance on the corps de ballet. Now, what did that do for me? It meant that because somebody had told me I wasn't allowed to be in my spotlight, the little 11-year-old in me wanted to prove that not only me, but everybody deserved to be in their spotlight. Now, of course, I couldn't articulate that at 11, but now, as a 47-year-old woman, I can look back at that and be like, oh, that's why I worked with celebrities when I first got into branding. People like Beyonce and Mariah Carey and Justin Timberlake, who were unapologetic about standing in their spotlight. That's why I work with brands now, and I'm passionate about the brands being unapologetic about being in their spotlight. And because I miss the sisterhood, I'm really passionate about us girls as a sisterhood championing each other to stand in our spotlight without apology. So that's my mission. Your mission is birthed out of your pain. Now, I know that sounds a little daunting, but the reality is that all marketing is a response to pain. Every single great brand in the world has been set up because they're solving a problem, and problems are connected to pain points. L'Oreal, they tell us because you're worth it, because they know us girls wake up in the morning and I'm like, child, what is that in the mirror? They know we don't wake up feeling fabulous, so they tell us because you're worth it, and we believe them and we go and buy all the products. So, what is the pain that you had as a young child? Because whatever that pain is, whatever that thing that really irks you, that thing that really bugs your spirit and your soul, you have been called to solve that problem. And that, my friend, is your mission. Don't overcomplicate it. Just go back to your childhood. We all have a little drama, a little trials and tribulations. We all have it. The thing is, do you become a victim from it, or do you use it as fuel to be your personal brand mission to show up in the world and help solve that problem? So everything I touch, everything I do, from the books that I write, to the podcasts that I'm doing right here, to the people that I connect with, to the brands that I work with, to the women that I mentor, to how I speak on stages, all of it is navigated back down to my mission of helping people step into their spotlight. So here's the first bit of homework for you. What is your personal brand mission? Number 2. When you're building a personal brand, you need to ask yourself, what is your personal brand vision? Where are you trying to get to? What is the exit strategy? What is the end goal? I want you to remember this. Branding is like a car. Now, some of us have a very beautiful bougie car. Maybe you are the Aston Martin of this world and your personal brand is elevated and quintessentially British. Maybe you're a Range Rover and you're a bit bulky and in your face. Branding is a car. That's all the packaging and the colors and all of that. It's a car. But the car needs to be taking you somewhere. So if you're not clear on the end goal, how can you possibly know what to post today? If you're not clear on where you're going, that means that you're being random in your marketing rather than being intentional in your personal brand development. Now, one of the people who I absolutely love the most on the podcast is Donna. Donna is the founder of The Entertainer, and oh, is that girl clear on her mission. Donna sat down and talked about how she was prepared to be so focused in her mission that she understood that even as a mother, there were seasons where maybe she wouldn't be home early to put the kids to bed, and maybe she wouldn't make the nighttime tea, or maybe she wouldn't make a particular school outing, because she knew that when she was building her personal brand and building the corporate brand of Entertainer, there were some sacrifices because the mission was great and the vision was clear. So let's take a pause for a moment and just listen to what Donna had to say.
I have a family, and they my two kids, they're now 14 and 11. But when I had them as babies, I used to bring them into the office. And I even built a little crèche that other people with kids could bring the babies in with them as well. So it would just be a little easier. Then when we grew it, there was too many babies and they were too crying over the phone. So I had to let that go. But I'm very, very big on family and being a mum, you do get a bit of that mum guilt at times, but I also thought I'm doing all of this for them.
Oh, Donna's good, huh? Let me tell you, that girl, I was like this. I was like this all the way through the interview in my mind, and afterwards we went out for a coffee and I was just like, you are the bomb, skiddity bomb bomb, because she is. I love Donna to bits and I hope you do too. So do me a favor, make sure you comment at the bottom here, because I want to know which one of the guests has resonated with you and what are you learning from this podcast. So are you ready? Let's get to the next point. The next thing about building your personal brand is that you need to be super clear about your brand values. Your brand values are normally 5 to 10 things that you stand for. So your brand mission is what you stand on, your brand vision is where you're going, and your brand values is what you stand for. So if I take me as an example, I stand for results. I am a stickler for the attention to detail. I believe that the excellence is in the detail and ultimately people are paying me and my team to deliver results. It's a strong value of mine. I also value reciprocity. I'm never going to give you something on this podcast and expect you to give me something back before I've given you more than what I want back. So as an example, right now, I want your time. I'm asking you to listen to this for 30 minutes, which means I've got to give you 30 minutes worth of real value. Why? Because reciprocity is a strong value of mine. My question to you is, what are your brand values? And let me tell you why this is important. If you have brand values and you're clear about them, I should be able to see them when I look at all of your social media. So another value of mine is community. I'm really big on community. I'm a strong believer that this idea of self-made is baloney. I don't think anybody is self-made. I believe you need people, you need a tribe, you need champions, you need mentors in order to become successful. So I'm big on community. I value community. And that's why this podcast is about a community of leaders. But it's also why you can look at my socials and see community. So my question to you is, what do you value? And if I looked at all of your social media platforms, do those values come alive? Is it clear what you stand for, where you're going, and what you value based on what you post? So you're probably thinking, this is all good, Kubi, and I get all of that. But if I've got a job, I've got a day job and I'm working really hard, do I need a personal brand within my corporate job? Or is that just for entrepreneurs and freelancers and consultants? And I would say, absolutely you do. If you have got a corporate gig and you're working inside of a company, you too need a personal brand. Now I can hear you. I can hear you saying, but then how do you do it, girl? How do you do your day job and build a personal brand within the confine of an organization? Well, let me give you some tips. The first thing you need to think about when building your personal brand as an executive within an organization is you need to think about your social capital. In layman's terms, you need to think about how you're networking internally in the organization. So one person that talked about that a lot was Donna. And I know we've looked at Donna before, but I think we should go back to her interview just one more time and just have a little listen to what she talks about when it comes to the power of networking and building your social capital. Let's take a listen.
I just did every event you could possibly do. I put myself out there. I did every conference that I could, and it was just really word of mouth. I did the grit. That's probably what it was. I did the grit.
Yes.
I did everything myself pretty much. Yeah. I didn't pay people. I couldn't afford to pay people.
Yeah.
But now looking back, I love that I did that because you know every bit of the business inside out.
So we've identified that to build a personal brand, you need to have a mission, you need to have a vision, you need to have values, and you need to build your social capital. But you also need to diversify your personal brand offering. You might be like, what now? Okay, let me break this down for you. Jessica, this is a lady who's coming up in season 3. Now, Jessica Michault, she is the editor, the senior editor for Emirates Woman. But if Jessica knows one thing, she knows how to diversify her personal brand offering. She recognizes that in today's market, you can't just have one job. I mean, if the pandemic showed us anything, that job for life, it died with the dinosaurs. So what Jessica has done is she's looked at the 7 streams of income and she has said, how does she build a personal brand that resonates and offers multiple different products and services? And let's break it down. Jessica's brand mission is about being a fashion writer. And she wants to unpeel the curtain to an industry that can be quite closed door. She wants to unpeel the curtain to the industry of fashion, particularly luxury fashion. So her mission is super clear. Her vision is that she wants to be a globally recognized fashion writer, fashion expert that all of us around the world know about. Her diversification is that her day job is senior editor at Emirates Woman. But then her second product is that she has Fashion Your Seatbelt, which is her own podcast where she interviews some of the best in the world of luxury fashion. But she doesn't stop there. She also recognizes that she can have another diversification where she goes out as a speaker and as a moderator in the fashion industry and on panels when it comes to women in business. And lastly, she recognizes that having a blog, which I think will turn one day into a book, is another avenue. So she has a day job, but she also has multiple streams of income that allow her personal brand to be diverse, but also resonate with multiple stakeholder groups. I really want to encourage you today, if your personal brand is anchored in one area, let's say it's your day job, how can you diversify? And I want to put a little word of caution here. Years ago, when I was 21 years old, I happened to work with P. Diddy. Now, I know we all have a feeling about Puffy P. Diddy right now, but I want to take you back to when I was 21. When he started Bad Boy Records, he wasn't the media mogul that he became over time. He started Bad Boy Records, and then, off the success of Bad Boy Records, he then launched Sean John clothing line. And then, off of the success of Sean John clothing line, he then launched all of his alcohol products. And then, off the success of that, he launched his Revolt media platform. Personal branding and the diversification of your personal brand happens over time. All of this Instagram posting where you can become a millionaire in 20 seconds, it is baloney. I've been in this industry for nearly 3 decades. And if I want to leave you with one thing today, I want to leave you with this. Be patient as you build your personal brand, because you need to do it incrementally. You need to make sure that what your first offering is super solid. So me as an example, I started off as an intern working for Puffy. I learned from some of the best in the industry. I was an intern when I worked with Justin Timberlake. I was a junior when I worked with Beyonce. I was an executive when I worked with Mariah Carey. You get the drift? I didn't start off with all of the books and all of the podcasts and all of the speaking. No, I started off mastering my skill of marketing. And then as the career built, I organically diversified my offering. People often ask me, Cube, how is it that you can sit here in the morning and you can do this podcast? Well, it's because I've been on stages since I was 4 years old. You do not wake up a success. Success is earned. It is not something that you are born with. So I want you to take a little look at Jessica, a little sneak peek on what it is that she says about her fashion brand, so that you can see if she can do it and I can do it, that you can do it too. So let's have a little listen. And not every fashion writer has carved out their own personal brand. They may be phenomenal writers. I'll read their columns. They know the industry. But you've got a really distinct tone, visually, but also in your writing. Tell us about that journey of building that brand, your personal one.
Well, I mean, for me, it came again with this trying to balance my love of writing and where the industry was going. So I went in two opposite directions. I started doing 60-second fashion reviews on Instagram when we could do a minute-long videos on Instagram so that you could get those bite-sized 60-second reviews. And then I went the other way because I would do these amazing interviews with leaders in the fashion industry and would have to condense it down to 1,000 words, and that broke my heart. So I created Fashion Your Seatbelt, the podcast. And with that podcast, I was able to have a half-an-hour conversation, really long tongue conversation, where you could hear the cadence of their voice, the sound of their laughter of these different designers. So I really tried to hit both sides of those things, both the bite-sized, consumable content in the 60-second fashion reviews, and those people who really want to have a really in-depth and embrace a storyline, and that was what the podcast came in. So that was the way I kind of tried to balance both worlds.
Oh, wasn't that a good little sneak peek for season 3? I love Jessica. Another person who I interviewed, who I think is phenomenal, is Chef Kelvin. When it comes to building a personal brand, Chef Kelvin has mastered the art of content creation on social media. What he has understood is what his brand mission is. He's understood what his brand diversification is all about, and he uses content to be able to storytell in a funny and humorous way. I love the fact that Chef Kelvin is so authentic when it comes to giving you access to behind the scenes of being a Michelin chef with one of the biggest franchises in the Middle East. I love the fact that you get to see him as a father with his wife and his son. You know what? Let me stop talking. Let's have a little listen to Chef Kelvin and you judge for yourself. Right, you are fun, you are vibrant, your socials popping. How important is that, and how much attention do you give it, or is it organic?
Again, it's a very weird case in comparison to the rest of the industry. None of my stuff is planned. My stuff is very organic, so it could just be me messing around with my wife or just bothering her. Or it could be me playing around with my kid or making something with him. And I think that's why my Instagram in particular has worked, especially for the restaurant. So now we did a random chocolate cake for a special, and I had 9 tables come in for it within an hour, and we sold it right away.
Wow.
But because it's organic and it's true and it's not staged, I think that was the biggest difference with our social.
A lot of people, because obviously I'm a brand specialist, and when I say to people like yourself, you are the brand, you need to show up on socials, they're like, oh, this is exhausting, how do I juggle it? But I feel like you just find it fun. It's just part of who you are.
It's just me. I don't take myself very seriously, to be honest. I think I'm still a kid, even though I'm not.
We all do.
I'm pretty immature. So I'm happy to do whatever. And I'm very blessed because my wife, Andrea, she's the brains. And I'm just the muscle. So if she's like, oh, go jump in the pool, I'm like, it's a very simple process.
Yeah. If you haven't already eaten at June's, you need to go and eat there. It is a phenomenal restaurant in Dubai. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, I gotta wrap up. I could talk to you absolutely all day. I just need a mocktail and a cocktail and I could just chill. But we need to get to a key thing that I want you to take away. And it's this. Building a personal brand is hard work. It is not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. And so you have to fortify your mental health when it comes to building your personal brand. I'm going to touch on this a little bit more in another episode, but I just want to give you a sneak peek into Adeyemi. Adeyemi is a men's mental health life coach. He talks a lot about successful men and their mental health. And one of the things that I think is really important that he emphasizes, which is the importance of you and I having a routine when it comes to how we ensure that we stay positive. The world can be quite a negative place, and you can start off with a big dream and a vision and a mission, and you can be super clear about what it is you want to do, and then life starts lifing. And so I want to encourage you today to really think about these 3 things. Once you've solidified your focus and you've solidified how it is that you want people to see you, once you've created your multiple streams of income and looked at the diversification of your product offering, I want you to then think about what is your daily habits to stay on track. What are your daily habits to drive the noise away? What are your daily habits to keep your mind positive? There's a saying, as a man thinketh, so is he. What does that mean? It means that whatever you think about yourself, you will say out loud. And words are literally spells. That's why we call it spelling. So what you say out loud, you always end up manifesting. It's a skill that we don't talk about enough. We talk about strategies and tactics, and we talk about marketing, and we talk about the 4 Ps of marketing. But what we don't talk about enough is the mental resilience that is needed to build a personal brand. I'm going to leave you with a little sneak peek on some of the things that Adeyemi has to say, and we'll pick this topic up in another episode. So until then, have a good one, and I can't wait to see you next time. Who are struggling despite the success. Why do you think that's happening?
I think a lot of men are living their life with some sort of a mask on, right? And the general thing is, when a man goes to chase success, he makes success his entire thing in his life. But what a lot of men don't realize, and what a lot of people don't realize, it's 80% of the entrepreneurs have gone through adversity in their life, some level of trauma. Now, the same energy that makes the homeless man is the same energy that makes the billionaire. And so what happens when you see a man chasing success, typically it's a response into the trauma, a response to the adversity that says, I have been hurt, something has happened in my life, I never want to feel that pain again, and success is going to help me get away from feeling that pain again. Now, what you saw in the interview that I had was that man had a lot of success, made it, felt like he was getting away from the adversity and the trauma or whatever he went through. But as soon as he sold his business, realized that the emptiness was still there. So his entire life and he sold his business for $800 million. His entire life was made in some ways as a response to trauma, a response to adversity. And so he built a shell around his life. But deep down, there was pain. And so a lot of men who are chasing success, they're actually running from pain rather than running towards the expression and the effulgence of their soul. And so my work is about saying, hey, instead of you running away from pain and building a life that's designed to help you run away from something, can we actually identify the core thing that you want to feel, which typically is connection? And can we go create a life that gets you the thing that you actually want? Instead of a bypass journey that you hope will get you there, but it's actually running from the truth, which is the connection and the love that you want.
This podcast was hosted by brand marketing expert Kubi Springer and produced by Avant-Garde Brand Experiences and Aura Skypool.